She just said she delivers fat babies.
In Nampa, I do.
In Nampa because it's trashy.
Because I've been there.
Yeah, you
every day. Every fucking day.
Yeah.
They're fat. I can help them. They're fucking good and every day. Take care of them. They're stupid and fat. I take care of them. I take care of them.
Meet Dr. Rachel Oliver, an OBGYN in Idaho who delivers at St. Luke's but primarily practices out of OGA in Nampa. I'm personally invested in this story as a former resident of Boise, but I'm also emotionally invested because I delivered at St. Luke's in 2019, and I was charted as overweight for the entirety of my pregnancy. I want to offer some perspective on how damaging someone like this is. The Hispanic community makes up 25% of Nampa's population. Many in this community are non-English speaking or no English as a second language. Many of them are low income, and many of them do not have consistent access to healthcare, if at all. Science demonstrates that these factors severely impact the quality of someone's care. Having worked in Nampa, I can tell you from experience that bias plays a huge role in patient outcomes. On paper, Rachel ticks all the boxes to seem trusting. She grew up the daughter of missionaries, she lived in Mexico, she's fluent in Spanish, and even went to medical school in Mexico. Hispanic patients should feel safe with her. But she's on camera calling a largely Hispanic population stupid and fat and threatening to punch people in the face. Bigotry in healthcare is dangerous in any regard, but it's especially egregious when hidden under the guise of advocacy. And when pregnant patients are already at increased risk of severe illness and death throughout this pandemic, I want to read you part of this article from the American Heart Association published last year that highlights why Rachel's rhetoric is especially dangerous. Hispanic mothers were already less likely to receive prenatal care, and when they did, it was late in pregnancy compared to white mothers. Studies show that when the pandemic hit, Hispanic people made up a large portion of frontline laborers, and Latinas were disproportionately employed in industries vulnerable to closures. Those economic forces, combined with existing socioeconomic issues that make it harder for people with low incomes to eat healthy food or live in safe green places to walk, bike, and exercise, served as a sort of perfect storm that can give rise to more ill health and death in this group. The factors discussed in this article are why the maternal death rate in the Hispanic community jumped 44% during this pandemic. Providers like Rachel Oliver put these patients at further risk of complications and death. She is a danger to pregnant and Hispanic communities, and she does not need to be in a position of authority.
So I don't need Nampa. I don't need Nampa. I don't need Idaho. I don't need Idaho.
Since you don't need Nampa, you don't need Idaho, you won't mind losing your job then, Rachel. Sincerely, a former fat pregnant